Will Bitcoin see a new all-time high this week? Let's go ahead and jump into the charts. Okay, MegaWhale team, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Bitcoin has retested the range high of the 3-month-long horizontal macro consolidation. In today's video, we're going to be discussing exactly what is happening on the short-term time frame, as well as what needs to happen for Bitcoin to create a new all-time high. We're going to be diving into the charts, going over exactly what you should be paying attention to, what is happening, and most importantly, how you can prepare for the next moves. Before we do get into it, smash that like button, hit that comment button, and subscribe to the channel. We post daily videos for Bitcoin focusing on the facts, the data, the technical and the structural information. No hype, no BS, no emotion, pure raw TA. If that is the kind of content you are interested in, join us on Telegram. It is the first link down below. You'll get access to charts, updates, videos, educational posts, news events, and everything you need to stay in the loop of cryptocurrency with Bitcoin and the relevant economic news. If you are interested in taking your trading to the next level, join us on VIP. We post trading setups with exact entries, exact targets, exact stop losses, trade justification, and exclusive analysis. Not only that, you'll also get access to our group chats, our general chat, trading chart and education chat, news, help, daily video, and trade setup chat. If that is the kind of stuff you are interested in, go ahead and contact me in the pinned comment of the free channel by clicking my name or click these links for more information. Let's go ahead and dive on in. So a real quick update. In the last 24 hours, we have seen Bitcoin basically execute exactly what we have been discussing about over the last few days. If you recall back to our video a week ago, we talked about the possibility for a sweep back down to those 67k lows, followed by a breakout of that bullish trigger point and a reclamation or a retest of that range high. And we can see Bitcoin did just that. We saw a sweep down into those 67k lows, a breakout and retest, and continuation into those high points. So everything we've been talking about has played out exactly as expected. So a big pat on the back, and congratulations to everyone who capitalized from that move. But the big question is now, are we going to be breaking through this major resistance, resulting in continuations into price discovery, or will we still find rejections from this point? We'll jump into that in just a moment. Before we do, let's go over to the market data. 24-hour volume is down 0.8%, so a negligible change there. 118 billion total volume. 24-hour liquidations, 119 million. Of the 119 million, 44 million have come from long positions. It has been a little bit of a choppy move up, right? If we do take a look at the last 24 hours, we haven't seen basically only green. We've actually seen a decent amount of chop on the way up here, liquidating those over-leveraged positions on that move toward the upside, which is generally a good thing. Looking at shorts, 75 million in liquidations on shorts over there as we do approach the buy side liquidity at a major point of resistance. Moving over to the DXY, a little bit of a green candle here in the DXY. Again, not too much of a concern. Provided we do remain underneath this uptrending level, we are expecting the downtrend to continue. It is only if the DXY is able to reclaim that downtrend, which we do have now as per our 2 retests, will we see any sort of strength reclaim over here for the DXY. We do have some major economic news coming out tomorrow. We do have, of course, our major news, which is going to be NFP and unemployment rate data. We do have on the 13th our CPI data, and we have on the 13th our interest rate data. Very important stuff. We'll actually be discussing this more in tomorrow's video and in the videos approaching. Moving over to the broader markets now, looking at the S&P 500. Fantastic move here, guys. We have seen a breakout of that major consolidation range we've been in ever since the start of February. This is a 120-day long consolidation. We have seen a breakout. Now, this is very good as it's leading for the rest of the markets. We generally see all markets move up at the same time, so there's a good indication of overall strength for the risk asset markets. Again, we do need that weekly candle close, 1 day and 22 hours remaining until we have a confirmation of that breakout. If we do validate the breakout, not only do we establish again our DOWJ, our point our low point, which is going to be the exact trigger point for a high time frame downtrend, but we actually confirm the fact we have broken over our prior high, telling us that we're going to see this continuation into price discovery. The same goes here for the Dow Jones. We are establishing a nice higher low over here on the price action. Not quite as strong as the S&P 500. We do need to still see a breakout over here, which is going to be our prior high to get that continuation. But overall, both markets are looking a lot better than they were a few days ago. With that being said, a quick word from today's video sponsor, and we'll jump into Bitcoin. I'd like to introduce our partner, BitUnix. BitUnix is a global, non-KYC, no country restriction exchange, making it a perfect exchange to trade on if you're from the USA, from Canada, the Netherlands, or just prefer to trade without KYC. This exchange is a futures and spot exchange with over 200 different trading pairs, and some of the lowest fees in the game. If you sign up with my link down below, you'll get access to 15% off your trading fees, as well as an exclusive reward center where you can claim up to a multitude in USDT prizes. So go ahead and sign up with my link down below for 15% off, and I'll see you in there. Okay guys, let's go ahead and jump into Bitcoin. So like we said at the start of the video, pretty much everything we were expecting has played out perfectly on the short term, and now we have approached a very key resistance, and that resistance is going to be our buy side liquidity resistance, okay, from that prior high of the origination point of that overall downtrend, which we recently broke out from. And of course, we are retesting the range high resistance of that high time frame horizontal consolidation. If we do look at our short-term price action, again, we have seen a strong move upwards. It has been choppy, but nevertheless, it has been strong. So what we can do now is we can actually remove a lot of these trigger points on the chart and really focus now on the bigger picture. We can really focus on, well, what is the likelihood of a continuation now through this range, and how could we validate that breakout? What are we looking for specifically, exactly on the charts to tell us, well, Bitcoin is going to break through this resistance and continue up? And what are we looking out for on the downside to tell us, well, Bitcoin has failed to do that? So what we are looking for, we are going to be looking for, like we always do. As you know, I'm a momentum trader. I trade solely on momentum. We are looking for leading indications in regards to our momentum indicators, such as our RSI, which is, again, a derivative of the price action itself, to lead the way, to tell us we have this strength to break through this major 2+ month long, well, it's 3 month long resistance now. So let's take a look. If we take a look at the price action over here, let's go ahead and get rid of some of these indicators, make it nice and visible. We can see we have got a very clear downtrend right over here. And we have our horizontal resistance. We can see we have been in a downtrend on the RSI for quite some time. In fact, the entirety of the time, even when we entered this consolidation range, right over that first high, the second high is going to be the bearish divergence. Then we had a triple bearish divergence, okay? Ever since we entered this horizontal consolidation 3 months ago, we have been seeing momentum fall on the higher time frame. The short term, we've been gaining momentum ever since the start of May, but on the higher time frame of the daily, we have been seeing falling momentum. With the falling momentum, we have seen sideways price action. This is why I've said this entire time. What we see here is bullish accumulation, because even though we have seen momentum drop quite significantly and volatility drop quite significantly, the price is sustaining these 60K lows. And as we told you guys, we're expecting deviation, and we told you we're expecting continuations to the high point, and we're still expecting those breakouts. But this is exactly what we need to see. What we need to see to increase the probability of a breakout of this range is going to be a daily candle close. Okay, and by candle, we're looking at the RSI, which means we need a pivot, a daily pivot over this downtrend on the RSI. If we zoom in really closely, guys, we go ahead and just zoom it in and make sure we have these lines lined up perfectly. So we'll bring this down just a tiny bit. We can see the RSI is peeking its head over that trend line. Now, this breakout is an indication of a positive momentum shift. So if you like to think about it, guys, this entire time here, we have had negative momentum, except for this singular daily candle was representative of significant strength in comparison to the prior amount of price action within the visible range represented by the RSI. So we have a significant shift in strength on this daily candle, which if sustained could indicate we are going to see a continuation through this resistance, as it would be the first time we are retesting this point of resistance from a position of daily strength on the RSI. So if we get the daily pivot over, we are expecting the price action to follow suit and actually continue through this resistance. That is big news. Where is Bitcoin likely to go next if we see the breakout of the resistance? Let's go ahead and talk about that now. So if we take a look at this range, this is a classic horizontal consolidation. We had deviation to the top side. What we see on one side, we generally see occur on the other side. We had deviation to the bottom side. Between those 2 points of deviation, we've had a very, very clear and very strong horizontal formation developing. We take our distance, okay, not percentage. It is simply going to be the depth. So the length of the consolidation, we apply that length to the perceived range high breakout point, and that will take us to a measured move target. Now, a measured move target is not the exact price point Bitcoin is likely to go to, but simply it represents a range of price action the price is likely to move within before it either one, creates a new consolidation structure, or two, reaches the measured move target. So that is going to be a target of $85,000, indicating to us that if Bitcoin is able to break through this resistance, which would occur if we get the positive momentum shift, we could see a move toward 85,000 over the coming weeks, which would put Bitcoin back in price discovery and officially kick off the parabolic phase of the Bitcoin cycle. Absolutely massive stuff to pay attention to. But, and there's a but, there's always a but, guys. Resistance is resistance until it is not. So if you're taking long positions here, you are late to the party. You are better off waiting for the validation that we are going to see continuations instead of gambling on that fact. Sometimes it is good to front run and sometimes it is good to react. If you have not entered positions on Bitcoin already, we took our positions much lower, guys. We took positions around these levels on our longs. We're still holding those. You should be waiting for that higher time frame confirmation here of directional continuations instead of gambling on that, okay? Now, let's talk about the bearish scenario, because yes, there is a bearish scenario, and that bearish scenario would only trigger if this uptrend is lost, like we have been saying for this entire time. The uptrend here, the monthly uptrend, is not only a trigger point, but it is a representation of the overall trajectory of price action over a period of time. And thus, if we remain above this trend line, the trajectory of price action inevitably breaks through this range high resistance. And therefore, we can classify this as a bearish trigger, meaning if we facilitate a breakdown of this trend line, that is when we would expect the trend which has sustained over the last 4 to 5 weeks would officially come to an end, and the probability of a break of the range high becomes less than the probability of a retest of the 67 to 64.5k region. So to put it in layman's terms, while we remain above the trend line, the probability of a breakout of the range high is significantly greater than any sort of downward movement on the higher time frame. That is it. If we do break down from this trend line, let's now discuss where Bitcoin could go. If we break down from this trend line, we are looking for prior levels of support. Primarily, look at this huge area of support we have at 67,000. This region between 67,000 and 66,000 has sustained as support for multiple weeks over here. Not only that, we saw it act as resistance for about 40 prior days before we flipped it officially into an area of support. Resistance, support. Therefore, if we lose this uptrend, the most logical destination would be a retest of this area of support. If we fail to hold this area of support, we look for prior liquidity levels such as 64.5, and if we lose 64.5, we look for 60,000. However, like we said, for any of this to become even probable, we would first need to invalidate the daily on the RSI. We would then need to break below this trend line, and we would need to lose the 66 to 67,000 region, as this area is still a support. So even worst case scenario, we see a invalidation of this trend line, we could still consolidate and bounce from that region. However, this would be quite unlikely. I wouldn't assume this to happen. The most probable thing is we continue through this resistance the moment we break over that local high point. So that is it for Bitcoin, guys. Those are the things we are watching out for. Pay attention to those charts. Let's now dive one more time into the smaller time frame and then move on to our next set of information for today's video. So one more time, moving over to the smaller time frame. If we take a look, we have got our buy side liquidity right over here. This red line, this is going to be a trigger point. Okay, a trigger point is simply a price point when breached will result in either a shift, okay, a reversal, or a continuation in the price action in the direction. So in this instance, it was our buy side liquidity, okay? So it was a significant liquidation event for short positions. In this instance, if we break through this region and show strength above this region, it would indicate a continuation. It would be a bullish trigger point for a directional continuation upwards, which would be very, very good, very, very bullish. And we'd expect the price to rise quite significantly if we breach that level. On the shorter time frame, so break it down even one more time. We can see on the shorter time frame right over here, okay, this is really, really interesting stuff, guys. We can see we are already developing some nice higher lows, okay? We take a look, sell side liquidity right over here, okay? We have got a higher low. We have got a higher low. What is happening to momentum? We are seeing falling momentum, okay? We are seeing lows on the momentum. Look at this. We have a lower low over here. We have a low over here, a lower low over here, but we have highs on the price action. This is indicative of what we call absorption. It is telling us that even though we are starting to see some degree of exhaustion showing, we are seeing momentum fall, it is met with significant buying pressure. The bulls are stepping in, the buyers are stepping in and are absorbing whatever selling pressure is a consequence of the exhaustion that is developing as a consequence of the recent surge in price action. This is a really good sign for the buyers, and it's telling us the price will likely continue upwards, particularly if we break that trigger point. That is Bitcoin, guys. Let's go ahead and move on to one more thing before we wrap up today's video, and that of course is going to be our weekly charts and maybe Bitcoin dominance. So weekly chart for Bitcoin looking really, really good. There's one thing I really want to talk about, which was going to be this level right here. Let's go ahead and zoom it in. Let's go zoom, 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 zoom. We can take a look at that price point at $71,280 US. $71,280 US is going to be right at that wall. What a coincidence that is. That is literally the buy side liquidity of the short-term chart. So that goes ahead and further confirms the fact that that buy side liquidity on the short term is now going to even be a directional continuation trigger point on the weekly chart. Major stuff, guys. If we break through that level, we are definitely continuing higher over here. So watch out. Again, 4 days remaining. In the next 4 days, I expect a massive rejection or a huge rally from this point, right? It's literally going to be that. It is either going to fail to break through this resistance. There goes my light. We're going to leave it on the floor. We're going to fail to break through this resistance, or we're going to see a continuation. That's for everyone who says I don't use a light. My light literally just fell on the floor. That is just how it is, guys. It happens sometimes. But we'll move on with the video. So we're looking for a directional continuation through this point. Okay, weekly candle close of the level is going to be significantly bullish, and we'd expect to see that directional continuation. Let's move over to the total market cap. Now, I think my total market cap chart might be a little bit lagged over here, a little bit delayed, but nevertheless, guys, we are still looking for directional continuation. So the most important point is going to be this trigger point over here. By my suspicions, it is definitely a little bit delayed over here. Let's go ahead and refresh that chart and bring it to the weekly again and take a look at how it has actually developed. So that is better. Now we see a better view of it. We can expect to see that directional continuation again as we break through that upper level of resistance, and provided we remain above this low level, this level of support, we are expecting the macro continuations to be very much strong and very much intact. We're going to actually end up the video there, a little bit of a short one today, because tomorrow video we have a huge amount of information I want to be discussing. Primarily, I want to be talking about the tops for Bitcoin, when the top will begin, and comparing different methods of evaluating when the top will begin to give a good understanding of, when will the top will be in and how we can go ahead and plan for the next top. We'll also be taking a look at different top signals for Bitcoin. So if we see these signals flash, these could be warning signs on a macro chart indicating well, the top is either very close or the top is now officially in. Thank you for watching, guys. Catch you guys in the next video. Have a great day. See you then. Bye.